The lonely stretch of California highway seemed to go on forever, disappearing into the inky blackness of the night. I was a weary truck driver, pushing through the darkness, my only companions the hum of the engine and the rhythmic pulse of the road beneath my wheels. The plan was to pull over for a few hours of sleep, find a quiet spot to park, and rest my eyes before the next leg of the journey. I spotted a desolate clearing on the side of the road, surrounded by towering trees. It looked like the perfect spot to catch some shut-eye. As I eased my rig to a stop, the engine's growl faded into a heavy silence. Exhausted, I crawled into the sleeper cabin, seeking refuge in the familiar comfort of my makeshift bed. The night air was crisp as I settled in. The only sounds were the rustling leaves and the distant hum of nocturnal creatures. I let the weariness wash over me, succumbing to the embrace of sleep. It must have been hours later when I was jolted awake by a strange sensation, a feeling of unease that crawled beneath my skin. I sat up, my eyes adjusting to the darkness. The moon cast an eerie glow on the clearing, revealing the outline of my truck and the surrounding trees. But there was something else. A figure emerged from the shadows, a silhouette with elongated limbs that seemed to defy the laws of nature. My heart quickened as the figure came into focus, revealing a tall man with a face distorted beyond recognition. His features were twisted, a grotesque mask that sent a shiver down my spine. Panic gripped me, and I fumbled for the keys. The engine roared to life as I slammed my foot on the gas pedal, desperate to escape the nightmarish intruder. The headlights pierced the darkness, illuminating the tall man standing in the middle of the road. His distorted face contorted into a sinister grin as he watched my escape. Miles passed, but the feeling of dread clung to me like a suffocating fog. I needed to rest, but the fear of encountering that tall man again kept me pushing through the night. Eventually, exhaustion got the better of me, and I had no choice but to pull over. This time, I chose a secluded spot near a dense forest. The trees loomed like silent sentinels, their branches swaying in the wind. I locked the doors and closed the curtains, hoping to shut out the memory of the tall man with a distorted face. Sleep claimed me once more, but it was a restless slumber haunted by the lingering fear of that nightmarish encounter. In the dead of night, a noise stirred me from my uneasy rest, a distant scraping sound that sent a chill down my spine. I peered through the curtains, my eyes adjusting to the darkness. There he was again, that tall man emerging from the shadows, his face a grotesque mask in the moonlight. Panic surged, and I bolted from the truck, crashing into the forest. The tall man pursued me, his footsteps echoing through the silent woods. I ran blindly, branches scratching at my face, my breaths labored and desperate. The forest seemed to close in around me, a labyrinth of shadows that offered no escape. I stumbled upon a small clearing and hid behind a gnarled oak tree. The tall man's distorted laughter echoed through the night, sending shivers down my spine. My heart pounded in my ears as I cowered in the darkness, praying he wouldn't find me. But the footsteps grew closer. The tall man's distorted face appeared at the edge of the clearing, his eyes locking onto mine. I held my breath, paralyzed by terror. His grin widened, and he beckoned me with a long, bony finger. With a surge of adrenaline, I bolted once more, the pursuit continuing through the labyrinthine forest. Hours passed like agonizing minutes as the tall man's laughter echoed relentlessly. No matter how far I ran, he was always there, a spectral presence haunting the edges of my vision. As the first light of dawn painted the sky, the tall man's pursuit finally ceased. I emerged from the forest, my body battered and my mind scarred by the night's horrors. The highway stretched before me, the sun rising in a triumphant display of daylight. But the memory of the tall man with the distorted face lingered, a haunting specter that would forever cast a shadow over my weary travels through the lonely roads of California.